In the LA mayoral race, incumbent Mayor Karen Bass is advancing to the general election in November. But who will she face? That race is still too close to call, but Spencer Pratt has a sizable lead over Nithya Raman. Now, here is the current vote count for the race for governor. You can see it right there. Actually, that's mayor's race. Now we have the governor's race. You see there Steve Hilton, 28%, Javier Becerra, 25%, Tom Steyer, 20%, but ballots are still being counted across the state. The top two candidates will get a spot on the November ballot. And joining us this morning to break down those results and also look ahead to November is Dr. Fernando Guerra. He is a professor of political science at Loyola Marymount University. We really appreciate you being here, Dr. Guerra.
Yeah.
First of all, let me just ask you this morning, as you're waking up, I know you were watching the numbers come in all night long. You're waking up this morning. Do you have any surprises of what you're seeing?
No surprises, but, it is very historic that it looks like Javier Becerra will end up being the first Latino governor elected in the state of California's entire history. And so that's pretty historic. Now, as you know, your reporter at the LA County Registrar of Voters said, there's still a lot of votes to count. In LA County, probably 1 million votes itself. But the trends clearly point to a Becerra-Hilton runoff for governor and a Bass-Pratt runoff for mayor. Theoretically, Councilwoman Raman is still in the running. Theoretically, billionaire Steyer is still in the running for governor, but highly unlikely that they would be able to catch up.
Let's get back really quickly. You're saying Becerra is going to win. I mean, he's going forward. What makes you so certain that he will win in November?
He will be the Democrat. Hilton will be the Republican. No Republican has won a statewide office in California since 2006. It's highly unlikely given the registration numbers, so many more Democrats than Republicans, the voting patterns that we have seen for the last 20 years, the public opinion. There is absolutely no indication that is given that Hilton even stands a chance. Not only will Becerra win, he will probably win by more than 10 percentage points.
Now, go back to the mayor's race here again. What do you think is going to happen in November with that in terms of getting the votes out, and what will be the issues that will be facing people here in Los Angeles?
Yeah, again, very clearly, this is a heavily Democratic city. Even though the race for mayor is nonpartisan, Karen Bass will make everybody understand that Pratt is a Republican supported by Trump, and that she will win easily. Remember last time she ran against Caruso, who spent $100 million, and she beat him by 10 percentage points. She will beat Pratt by even more. Again, the patterns that we have in terms of voting and public opinion just tell you that this race is already over. Of course, they have to run it. Of course, we have to go out and vote. Of course, anything else can happen. But all things being equal, these elections were over last night.
But we did see, Dr. Guerra, that Republican candidates appear to have a really strong showing in this primary. Why do you think that's the case?
In fact, they didn't surprise at all. So if you add, let's say, Hilton and Bianco's vote total together, it's about 39%. 2 years ago, when Adam Schiff became U.S. Senator, Steve Garvey got about 38%. During the recall, Republicans were able to garner about 35%. The pattern is always very clear right now in terms of the percent that Republicans should get, and that's what they got in this primary collectively, and the Democrats collectively got over 60%. And so nothing unusual in terms of the totals that we saw yesterday. It's the individual candidates that were the surprise, meaning Becerra over Steyer or Hilton over Bianco.
But boy, Tom Steyer spending $200 million. Yeah. Are we going to see that kind of money coming up here in November?
Oh, absolutely not. I think, the Republicans will spend enough money on Hilton. It was very important for them to get Hilton to be on the ballot in November to help turn out in some of the congressional and state legislative races. They will spend enough money to keep them competitive, but nowhere near the $200 million that was spent by Steyer alone. As a matter of fact, it will be less than $100 million for the entire campaign coming up in November, not only for governor, but for lieutenant governor, every single position. The amount of funding that we saw in this primary is going to be 1/3 in the general election, just given the partisan leads that Democrats will have.
Wow. All right, Dr. Fernando Guerra, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate your insight. We look forward to having you back as we continue our coverage leading up to the November election. Thank you.